Some people are born with the volume of the world turned up too loud. For me, it wasn't noise, it was the silence. The silence inside me that made the loudest sound. I remember being 10, standing in my mother's closet, holding a red satin slip against my chest. I didn't know what it meant then. I just knew it felt right. That smoothness. That stillness. Like finally breathing in a world where I was always holding my breath. Now I'm 35. A systems analyst by day. No one at work knows the real me. The Tony they see drinks black coffee, talks sports he doesn't watch, and disappears right at 5. But the real me, she doesn't clock out. She waits. Patiently. Quietly. Every Saturday night, she blooms. It starts with a shower. Hot water sliding down skin I've tried to make smoother each week. I take my time shaving. Not because I have to. Because it's a kind of ritual. The blade against my legs, that soft scrape and rinse, feels like carving myself out of the person I pretend to be. In my bedroom, I sit in front of the mirror. There's this quiet I love. The hum of the city beyond my window. The soft flicker of a candle. I unroll my pantyhose slowly. The silky sound of it makes me smile. When I slide them up, it's like slipping into someone I remember but haven't seen in a while. Tonight, I choose a sleeveless lavender dress. I zip it up, twisting awkwardly like always. Then I turn. The mirror doesn't show Tony anymore. It shows her. Elizabeth. Makeup comes next. A bit of foundation. Some blush. A soft peach on the eyelids. And lipstick. Always lipstick. I choose something bold tonight. Deep cherry red. It's the final touch. The mask that reveals rather than hides. There's something sad and beautiful about loving a version of yourself that no one else knows. But one night, something changed. It was late. Maybe midnight. I was curled up on the couch, still dressed, still feeling that quiet glow. I opened my laptop, aimlessly browsing. That's when I found Prism Stories. The site felt gentle. Soft pink tones, kind words, and a quiet invitation. Discover your inner self. Join a community that understands. There was a size calculator. I entered my measurements. Chest, 38. Waist, 32. Hips, 40. It told me I was probably a size 12. I smiled. I ended up ordering a soft white bra, a navy skirt with buttons down the front, and a dreamy satin gown that reminded me of old Hollywood. The site also had stories, people like me. A community chat too. I didn't join that night, but I bookmarked it. Just knowing it was there felt like a hand on my shoulder. 2 weeks later, I met Frank. It wasn't planned. We bumped into each other at a bookstore, both reaching for the same obscure sci-fi novel. He laughed first. Said something corny. I laughed too. We ended up getting coffee. That turned into dinner. Then more dinners. He was kind. Warm. The kind of man who actually listened. We didn't talk about deep things right away. But I kept thinking, could he know? Could I tell him? One rainy night, after dinner at his place, I told him. I was trembling. My throat dry. I cross-dress. I said quietly. Frank didn't flinch. He didn't laugh. He just sat there, thinking. Then he said, okay. Do you want to show me? I'll never forget that night. I went into the bathroom and changed. I put on my softest dress, the one with the blue flowers. I did my makeup just enough. When I stepped out, my heart was beating like a drum. Frank looked at me for a long moment. Then he said, "You're beautiful, Tony." I cried. We started spending our Saturdays together. He'd cook. I'd dress up. We'd dance in the living room, slow and quiet. Sometimes we kissed. Sometimes he'd run his fingers down my arm and whisper silly things. It wasn't about sex. It was about being seen. But nothing perfect stays. Frank changed. He got quieter. One night he didn't return my call. Another night he canceled. Eventually I asked him why. He looked down and said, "I like you, Tony." "I do. But I don't think I can do this long term." I knew what he meant. I didn't need the rest of the sentence. I'm not ashamed, I whispered. Not anymore. I know, he said, his eyes wet. But I think I am. The next morning, he was gone. I stayed in bed all day, dressed in that same blue flowered dress. I didn't cry much. I just felt quiet, like a part of me had folded in again. The walls felt closer that day, like they were listening. I let the softness of the fabric comfort me. I didn't turn on the TV. I didn't open the blinds. I just lay there, watching how the candlelight curled across the ceiling, flickering like the inside of my chest. I didn't know what healing looked like. I still don't. But I think sometimes it just means sitting with your own ache without rushing to fix it. A few days later, I opened Prism Stories again. This time I joined the chat. I wrote a short post. Nothing dramatic. Just, "Hi, I'm Tony. I lost someone I cared about. I'm still learning how to be okay." A woman named Skylar replied. She said, "I'm glad you're here. We see you." That meant more than I can say. There was a strange stillness in reading those words. Like standing by a lake at dusk, just watching your own reflection ripple. I didn't reply right away. I just sat there, hands resting on my lap, feeling something loosen deep inside me. It's been months since Frank. I still think of him. Sometimes I imagine he'll knock on my door again, flowers in hand. His crooked smile. His warm eyes. But I know that's not how the story ends. This story ends here, with me. Last Saturday, I wore the satin gown I bought from Prism. I danced alone in the living room. A soft song playing low. The city lights flickering like distant stars outside my window. I spun once. Twice. The hem of my gown brushing my legs. The room blurred around me in motion. But I felt calm, centered. And in that moment, I smiled. Not because I was happy, but because I was real. Maybe that's enough. Maybe that's everything.